Hello, welcome back to another post-commentary video on some Space Marine 2 gameplay. And today's video will be a little bit shorter than the usual 23 to 30 minutes, when you do a full mission, because as you can see, I kind of got here in the middle. I'm playing as a Techmarine again. I did mention that I want to level them up little by little. And this was the easy mode version of the weekly. I already have a video of the hard mode with the double terminus enemies and their like souped up health and stuff like that, and you're gonna see a huge difference between the difficulty of their health bars. Yeah, so if you're kind of on the fence about doing the weekly stratagem for the points, I would say at least do the normal mode. It's not that bad, and it's actually kind of fun at these levels of challenge. So yeah, where am I at now? Let's see. So if you've been following along on some of my previous videos, you've seen that I am working on a Dark Angels army. Now I built a combat patrol, and that put me around 480 points, and I was hoping to join a combat patrol league at my local hobby shop, but I missed the boat for that. So my next goal is to get myself to 1,000 points, and I bought the Redemptor Dreadnought to beef up my army here. And in my previous video, I kind of left off with some progress on his left arm, which is where his like power fist is at, or his manipulable finger claw arm type deal. And there are two options that came with my kit, and that is the Gatling gun and the flamer. And I was looking at the benefits of one, and it seems like the flamer has like ignores cover situation going on, and the Gatling gun is just more range damage and good, I guess, for chewing up some infantry. And I was taking inspiration from my Dark Angels Codex, and I looked into the book to see what the Redemptor Dreadnought looked like in there, and he does have the macro cannon or the macro plasma incinerator, and not the big giant Gatling autocannon. And so I went with the macro plasma incinerator, but the thing is, you can't see his left arm in any of those photos, so I'm just going with the box art, and that does have the little mini chain gun on the left arm, along with the power fist situation that he's got going on there. Another cool thing that I found out putting these things together is that these pauldron areas, this extra armor up on the shoulder here, these are pressure fit, and they're hanging on really tight. And I think even with a little bit of paint, the stickiness of the paint will probably even keep them on with all forms of travel. You really have to pull these things apart. And I bought some magnets, and I feel like the hold between one and the other is about the same, if not the pressure fit right now is stronger. So I kind of lucked out with that, and the reason this is a benefit for me is because I'm going to be able to paint these in separate pieces and then just stick them back together, and that'll allow me to get into this like inner gear area and paint it black, and then dry brush with lead belcher, because that's what the box art looks like it's doing. And so that, yeah, I kind of lucked out with the pressure fit there. Some of this is in there by design. If you're ever building one of these, you're going to see that there's going to be areas where it doesn't call for glue. It just calls for you to sticking things in and twisting them together. And other parts did call for glue. And but I'm getting away with the pressure fit for sure on a lot of these parts. Like, another thing that I got a hold of here is the macro cannon, the macro plasma incinerator. Now that is hooked up to the joint, and then that's all pressure fit as well. It's a small nub that fits in there into a female end and a male end of a square, and it's holding really strong. Like I did a shake test, and it wouldn't come loose, and then I did a similar test with the magnets, and it was coming apart. So I'm gonna just go ahead and stick with the pressure fit for now. Now, if I have problems in the future when I'm moving this mini across the board, you know, then I'll probably glue in some magnets and grind away. I'm trying to avoid that right now, and this is just really helpful for painting at this moment. So yeah, let's see here. Here's another problem that I had, and it seems that when I put the legs together, you know, I was really focused on the feet being flat, and the legs, I didn't quite get them level. And from, you know, the point of view that I was building on my desk, it looked good from here, you know, can't see it from my house type of deal. But after I put the chassis on, I realized how much out of plumb that was, and my Dreadnought, you know, looked like he was looking up at the sky, or he was ready to fall over backwards. So what I ended up doing here is just trying to balance him out, you know, as level as I can, and I did that with some paper. And, you know, I just took some note cards that I had and ripped them up, and, you know, shimmed them in there until he came out level enough, and that seemed to have fixed my problem. So that is going to be something I'm going to have to stick with permanently. I did put the chassis on, and it did fix my problem. So, you know, that's where we're at on that. Other than that, you know, he doesn't look too bad off. So here he is all together, standing proud. He looks amazing. I can't wait to paint this guy. So that's where I'll be at on my next video. I will at least get the black primer on him, and I will dry brush all the metal joints, and then I want to airbrush his panels, his armor panels. So anything that would have been blue on the box art, you know, it should be Dark Angels green on my Dreadnought. And if you saw my captain build, you know, I was very, you know, impressed with the Caliban green air that came out of Citadel, out of the workshop, the Games Workshop store, and went on real smooth. And I'm going to try and get that same effect on these armor panels for my Dreadnought. Aside from that, though, everything else will be the Dark Angel green or the metallic where it needs to be. So it's gonna take a while. I might be working on this guy for the next few videos, so forgive me if my videos seem a little repetitive, or you know, I'm not showing as much progress between video and video. But you know, this is my only $80 Redemptor Dreadnought. I'd like to do him as best as I can, without, you know, hyper fixating on every little detail and every little, you know, flaw. So let's get back to this gameplay. We're already, you know, at the last, you know, 3/4 of the stage here. After this train yard, you know, you get to the last mission, part of the mission where you send the train out to go blow up the city. And you probably already saw in the background how easy it was to kill the double Carnifexes. Now, I did get beat up. You know, you probably saw me take some damage, and just, you know, that was all poor placement. In hard mode, that would have been an instant death for sure. In normal mode, you know, it was something to roll off. And also our bulwark, you know, he came in real clutch. You know, let's talk about, you know, 200 IQ play there. You know, he saw that I got the execute on the Carnifex, and he popped that banner down at me and gave me all that contested health back. And just, you know, it just, when you have a full health bar, you just play with that a little bit more confidence. And, you know, I was very grateful for that. And the rest is history. You know, we're just moving through here. You know, there was really no much complications on a normal mode. I would almost say that, you know, normal mode is getting too easy. But as you can see, I still make mistakes. You know, especially compared to the hard mode version of this weekly. I mean, I saw some discussion that it was probably too hard. And, you know, like I said, one comment that I read on another person's video was that they probably did this on purpose because the backlash of the skins, the voice packs and the faces and stuff. And you know, I wouldn't put it past the developers to, you know, kind of give it back to the community a little bit. But it was not impossible. It was very hard, but it was not impossible. If you're still out there, you know, before the weekly resets, you know, try to get your 300 points. And from here, I'm just gonna let the video play out. You know, there's not much to commentate on a normal video, so I hope you enjoyed my build so far. Can't wait to show you more when it happens. Thank you for watching. Hope you stick around to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.
Lieutenant Titus, the ordnance is loaded. Good. Deploy it. Organic medicine here. Ammunition acquired. Medical cash on me. My crisis in front. Replenishing ordnance. Restoring sentry to battle status. Launching payload. Engine power depleted. Initiating charging cycle. Enter ambulatory penalties will be assessed. This weapon into the heart of our foe. Detonation in 5. Brace.